months of being away from BookTube. So, hello everyone, and I am making my way back in by starting my very first Top 5 Wednesday video. And Top 5 Wednesday, in case you don't already know, is hosted by Lainey over at Ginger Reads Lainey. We'll link her information below. And this week's topic is books that we loved that were recommended to us by other people. So for me, most of the time, I get my book recommendations from just reading lots of things and a book kind of popping up as being interesting after hearing about it in a lot of different places. But there are a few specific instances where a book was recommended to me by a specific person. I loved the book, and I can nail down that I would not have read that book if someone had not directly recommended it to me. So without further ado, here are the 5 books for which that is the case. First up is a book that was recommended to me by a reader on my blog. It is codenamed Verity by Elizabeth Vine. I had done a review of Rose Under Fire, which is the companion novel to this book. And this person on my blog said, well, if you love Rose Under Fire, you'll love Codename Verity even more because it's the book that everybody's really talking about. And she was not wrong. This book is incredible. It's a beautiful depiction of female friendship. It really plays with truth and lies and unreliable narrators and a lot of different things that I really love in a book, all set against a World War II setting. So I really appreciated how it also complemented what was in Rose Under Fire. And so I was very glad that I broke down and actually read the book. Next up, I have another work of World War II fiction. It is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. It was recommended to me by a teacher when I was student teaching many years ago, and she was having the students read this book, and I was so impressed that such a giant book was just being devoured by 7th graders. Once I really let myself get absorbed by this book, it is still one of the saddest endings I've ever read in a story, and I love even more that it's set in the backdrop of Munich, which is one of my favorite cities in the world, even if it has to be in a very particularly terrible time period in its history. But you should already know about The Book Thief. It's incredible and it'll make you cry a lot. Next up is We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. This was recommended to me by my aunt one summer when I was in Vermont, and we were talking about books, and I was talking about how I like books about really disturbed people, and she said, well, then you need to read this book because the story is about what it's like to be the parent of someone who has murdered a lot of people in a mass murder in a school. So it's about having a sociopath essentially as a son and what that means, and is it nature or nurture that creates the sociopath, etc., which I found incredibly, I think I flew through this book in 2 days once I finally sat down and read it. And she lent me this book, so this is actually her copy of the book, and apparently I liked it so much that I've just held on to it for the past 4 years because she said, if you like it that much, don't worry about it, just keep it. So thank you, Aunt Maureen, for not only recommending this book to me, but letting me keep it forever. The 4th book on my list is Where Things Come Back by John Corey Whaley. This was recommended to me by Ashley over at Into the Hall of Books. I had previously kind of ignored this book because it didn't look on the cover like something I would be interested in, but she spoke to the literary quality of John Corey Whaley's words combined with his incredible storytelling. He really weaves together 3 completely different stories in this book, and you don't really know where they're all going until they all come together at the end, and it makes absolute sense. I definitely would not have picked up this book without her recommendation. So that would be, even though I don't know Ashley personally, reading her very passionate review of this book is what led me to pick it up and give it a go. And then finally, the last book is not a novel, but it's related to adolescent literature, and it is Disturbing the Universe, Power and Repression in Adolescent Literature. After I gave a presentation at a conference and I was talking about a lot of critical theory work with young adult literature, someone said, well, haven't you read this book because it's just so perfect for what I'm interested in. And so I went home and I got it. It was not that expensive online, but she covers a lot of different things in this book, a lot of different institutions and ideologies and like death and YA and things like that. But perhaps the most interesting chapter is on sex and young adult literature and how we try to force ideologies on children through
the way that we depict certain things in the books that they read. So this has been very influential in shaping some of my own thinking about books, and you probably see underlying tributes to this in a lot of the things I bring up in my reviews. And I also highly recommend this for anybody that's looking for, you know, some more critical understanding of the books that we read. It's pretty accessible and very not entertaining, but interesting to read. So those are the 5 books that were recommended to me by other people that I very much enjoyed. I also recommend all of them to you. So I look forward to hanging out with you guys here on the internet because I've missed you all so much. And that's all for now. I'll see you next time.